Greetings, friends. Your cartoonist pal Stan here with a brand new episode of Random Encounters, the show where I use tabletop. Well, good start, Stan. Good start. The show where I use random encounter tables, like the kind you find in tabletop role-playing games, such as Dungeons and Dragons, and I'd use those with an electronic die roller and input from you, the folks who are watching in the live chat room, and to do a kind of improv show. Not just kind of an improv show, an improv show. But it's improv drawing, not improv stand-up comedy. Though I hear I can be quite funny at times. Yeah, so we use the encounter tables and your input, and we take a creature, a character, a something, a thing, a people, a person, an animal, and we put it in a place, a what, a who, a when, an action, something that's going on, and we smash them together. And then I draw that while you're watching, and I talk about the drawing angle of it and some things it might remind me of from my storied career in the game industry and beyond, and we have a lot of fun. And that is what the show is. Thanks for coming, everybody. No, it's time to do it. So let's do. We're here. It's a Thursday night. It's wet and chilly here in the Pacific Northwest. Having a lot of flooding in the area. I don't know if you've seen any of that in the news. It's kind of higher than it's been in 20, 30 years on some of the rivers. Thankfully, I live on top of a hill, and it's not affecting me directly. But I certainly know people who are affected, and a lot of people in the region are. So my thoughts go out to them. Maybe this is kind of a distraction. I don't know. I'm going to grab my iPad here. I do all of this drawing on an iPad Pro with an Apple Pencil and the app Procreate, none of which are sponsors. There are no sponsors on this show. But I like to let people know what the medium I'm using is, because they often ask that. But I reply with, doesn't really matter what I use. What you use is what feels comfortable to you. Grab a pencil. Grab a number 2 pencil if you got one out of your school kit, or a ballpoint pen. I'm seeing I'm a little laggy today. I don't know why that is. It always makes me nervous. Yeah, no. Grab a notebook. It doesn't matter if there are lines on the page. It's just draw on the page. Grab a piece of printer paper, or the back of an envelope, or a Post-it notepad. Just draw, because what this is all about is having fun drawing. Drawing is just a fun activity to do. It's good for you. It's good. It gets your. It's a kind of play. It gets your creativity going, gets your mind thinking about things you wouldn't have thought about. You don't have to draw great. You don't have to draw good. In fact, you don't even have to draw a thing. You can just scribble and doodle and just make a mess on the paper. I think you'll find it's fun. So I hope you'll join me. Grab your drawing implements and let us come over here and look at today's encounter tables. These are the encounter tables we are working with today. And let's go to the dice and roll the dice. I'm going to roll those dice, roll the dice, and we get a 10 and a 1. So 10 we know is adventurers, and 1 is Black Friday shopping. I'd like to put things on the lists which are topical, but sometimes they don't get chosen. They kind of roll up. Black Friday shopping was about to get changed. If it didn't get picked this week, I was going to change it to holiday shopping or present shopping. And we can do that either way. These are always open to interpretation. But we got adventurers and Black Friday or holiday shopping. Let us see what we get. All right, so I'm going to start over here. So I'm reaching out to get something. And those of you who've watched this before know that I have a group of characters that I very my default adventuring party. So we have a table full of something that's on sale. Unclear what it is. It doesn't really matter what it is. It could just be boxes and boxes and boxes. That guy is too close to it right now, though. So I'm going to grab him. I'm going to move him. Make him a little smaller. Move him away. Because everyone's racing to get to it. Alright, we may zoom in a little more on that in the end. And what else do I want? I think I want... I'm going to move this guy again. He's taking up so much space now. I can't get anyone around him. Go here. And then back here. How am I going to make this work? How am I going to make this work? I'm going to have a magic user casting a spell to try and get stuff. And then... I don't even remember how that... Oh yeah, because I give him a hood. I don't know what his hair looks like. I was just thinking, I don't remember what this guy's hair looks like. And then swinging in on a rope here, we're going to have the... that's not looking good from a posture perspective. Guess we're going to need him to do this. Kind of Spider-Man-like, swinging in. We don't even know what it is they're trying to get, but they want to get it. That's the way these sales go. You just see that it's a sale. Alright. Now, we want to fiddle with this a little more. The size between our fighter and our magic user seems off. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do there. Gonna grab the magic user. Yeah, just push him back. No, a little smaller so that the fighter is bigger. Back here like that, and then I can grab them both and make them both bigger together. Everyone's trying to get... There we go. There we go. That's a good layout. Hello, Sunsteel. Hello, Michael. Glad you could both join me tonight. I'm going to start working on them. I don't know. My instinct is that it doesn't matter what it is that they're actually going for, just that it's on sale. But if you guys want to make suggestions for things I could put on the sale table, go ahead. Alright, so I'm going to come in here and I'm going to draw my characters. As I say, start with the thing you're most confident in, or that's going to be most important to the picture right now. This guy is taking up the prime real estate, so getting him his positioning right. That's going to be the most important part for me. Trying to get the idea of some foreshortening in here. He's reaching forward. Foreshortening is a challenging thing. When I was learning to draw, that was one of the things that confused me for the longest time, and it's the hardest thing to explain. It's a kind of thing that you can study and you can study and read things and listen to artists talk about it, and it's just one day you're gonna get it. One pose or one theory or one reference photo, and you're gonna go, oh, that's how foreshortening works, and it's gonna work for you from that point on. And until then, it's just gonna be one of those things that you go, I don't get it. How do I do foreshortening? And foreshortening, I guess I should explain even more, is when you're drawing something, and because of depth, part like my hand is closer to you. So in order to draw my arm, get it right, coming towards you, you can't draw the whole length of my arm. You've got to use foreshortening to create the idea that it's reaching forward towards you. It's not just his hand is big, it's that his hand is closer. And it still looks like it works anatomically. As I say, I use these same characters a lot for. I've used them for years in different projects as my generic adventuring group, and that just makes it easier for me when I'm doing adventurers to put them in. They don't really have a story. They look like they have a story. Just trying to cast a spell to get some of that beautiful, beautiful on sale merchandise. Doesn't even know what it is. I suppose in the end, it probably should end up being a mimic or something like that. Yeah, the GAG, the generic adventuring group. Yeah, Michael, maybe that's what their name ought to be. All right, let's see what we got going on in the chat here. Do the generic characters have names? No, no, no names. What's the gag? I like that. It's, I would have expected that one to come from Chris. Uh, Sansi said, always had a problem drawing hands. Foreshortening sounds even harder. Hands are hard. Hands, you know what? If you go back and look in uh, my sketchbooks and notebooks, you will see pages upon pages of hands and eyes. I liked drawing eyes. I hated drawing hands. Hands are hard. You know what's also super harder? Feet. Feet are just ridiculously hard for what they are to get them right. Um, there's a lot of professional artists, some early in their careers, some long in their careers, who just seem to struggle with feet and try to avoid it. Now, we've got a table and we've got a sale sign. Not even sure what I should put on there. Maybe they should just be grab bags. I don't know. Grab bags of holding. I like that. How should I write that? No, that's not working. Anything else? Iron rations. What else could be on this table? Got a grab bag of holding. We've got iron rations. What is he? Oh, it's a little treasure chest. That'd be cute. Um, what else? What else do you think? You know what? I'm going to start doing some coloring here. And let me know. We got a few other boxes. We could write some more cool things on there. Let's turn off this sketch layer and see what we got. Is there anywhere that needs a little extra line work? I think that could stand to be finished up. Right now, our rogue just looks like he's wearing pajamas. What can I do to give him just a bandolier? That'll do it. All right. Remember that your suggestions have to go on the boxes here. I'm not. I'm not redrawing that part of it. But I'm going to come here. I'm going to go to the gloaming brush, which is that kind of crayony, markery effect that I like so much, and we'll start adding in some color. The other interesting thing about having done these characters so much is that I have a I've done them in color too, so I have a generic palette that I'm ready. I just know I don't have to think about what color I'm drawing them. It's just like, well, of course they're that color. That's what they wear. We'll go with a pinkish, purplish, magical effect. It's pretty early in the night for me to have gone this quiet. I don't know what that's all about. No. Maybe it's just been one of those days. I've had my head down, focused on stuff all day. I'm just not used to being talkative. Got to break out of it. Got to break out of that. I can already feel that these colors are. I'm doing this very strong, like I sometimes do. I'm gonna have to pare this back a little. Those colors are very intense. Oh, I know what I want to do. I know what I want to do looking at this. I want to change these so his hands are not gloved. Oops. Back to the colors layer. Don't color on your lines layer. All right, I'm going to be looking at the chat in a second. I'm hoping there's some interesting things to put on these boxes. Anything else? Anything else? What do we got? Gelatinous Rubik's Cube? I can swing with that. Make sure I'm on the line. I'm going to do the line slayer. What do we got? Gelatinous Rubik's Cubes, Girdle of Strength. um, Stacked like gift tables at Barnes & Noble. That really was my inspiration here, yes. Um, Gelatinous Rubik's Cube. Girdle of STRENGTH. Dice, dice, dice. There we go. Now we'll come back to the color layer. And we can I'm going to pick a generic color to do these. Maybe a purplish gray, grayish purple. But there we go. Let's grab this color. I'm going to change its opacity because I was saying those, particularly on the fighter and the magic user, those colors are very strong. But if I pull it back, the opacity to about 80%, that's too soft. 85 to 90. Yeah, that's looking better. There we go. And I'll come back to my inking and my lines layer, and I'll go over here and I'll put a little stand in the corner because we have Adventurers on a Black Friday sale or some kind of big holiday sale. Tensors, floating discs. There we go. First one done. Good job, everyone. The more you guys write there, the more I think, yeah, we can have a lot of fun just kind of filling a wall full of items on sale or doing a little, I don't know, a supplement, little like an article, a dragon article link thing about what you find on the closeout sale, the after holiday sale at the general store in that your adventurers shop in. Elminster's book of ecologies. It'd be the need somehow to show that it's the previous edition, right? It's not the current edition. All right, that's looking pretty good. I'm happy with that. So I'm going to now grab this. I'm gonna close out group one and turn on group two. Make sure I'm back to my proper brush. I'm on the sketch layer. I've got the blue color chosen. Turn on the encounter tables. Have another sip of my Diet Coke. Back scratcher +1. Yeah, that's a classic. That's a classic. All right. You ready? Watching my camera and I still am lagging. Not quite sure what's going on. Often that happens when I'm running a program that I shouldn't be. It's eating up memory, but I don't have any other programs running. Not so sure about that. All right. You ready? I'm ready. Let's dive back in and we started off with adventurers at a Black Friday sale, Black Friday shopping. Let's go back to the dice. See what we get for our second prompt of the evening. So we're going to roll the dice and roll them. And 2 and a 7. We come up with 2 and a 7. That's Lizardfolk on Crutches. Lizardfolk on Crutches. Very different from our first one, but let's go with that. We'll roll with that. Okay. I'm not sure that there's necessarily a gag in this. I gotta get a quick rough of what this is. Before I do anything, I gotta have 1 foot in a cast. Often we'll talk about the fact that the key to doing drawing well, or one of the keys that you want to get in once you're starting to advance, is to make sure that you give your characters interesting postures, that they're not just standing up straight. Right, on the previous one, I made sure that the fighter was reaching out and the wizard was leaning back and casting a spell, and the rogue was in a Spider-Man-y position. Right now, I think what I want to do here, though, having done that, I want to give our lizard man a longer neck. So I often say you don't have to get the details right. You just can't get them so wrong that people that it looks wrong to the viewer. Why is the lizard folk on crutches? I don't know. Now, that's a good basic thing. And try and figure out, is there a gag to be had in this? Other than just the lizard folk on crutches? I don't know. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Um, I'm looking at what um, Tiny Tim lizard folk. I was looking at the lizard folk don't ski or skiing accent um, suggestion, and I just pictured that we could certainly have him standing next to someone else and saying, lizard folk don't ski. It turns out lizard folk don't ski. I mean, in the end, that's not a it's not an award-winning gag, but it certainly is a gag. All right, I'm gonna start putting some line work down here. Give him lizard folk are often portrayed as you know kind of barbaric or barbarian style. So I'm going to give him some necklaces, some beads. Hmm. Ooh, wrong brush. I don't know why it is now. Sunsteel is my handle. I'm the artist formerly known as Patrick Delis. So when did you start being Sunsteel? You know what? I get the. I don't know how this became my name. It just is. But how long has that been going on? Just trying to explain to a younger lizard folk what's going on. Yeah, turns out. I'm gonna wind up moving this. But I was already in the middle of drawing it, so I figured I'd finish and then I'll move it. Hmm. There we go. Turns out lizard folk can't ski. Then I'm gonna give him some spots. I don't know if somehow the spots suddenly feel more troglodyte. I don't know why that amuses me so, but it does. They're the friendliest looking. You know, well, lizard folk get a bad rap. They ain't so bad, and everyone looks a lot friendlier when they're on crutches, or at least, if not friendlier, less threatening. All right, so we'll go to the colors. Once again, we're going to grab the gloaming brush. I'm going to pick a lizardy green. And an even lighter, grayer version of the green for the underbelly. And a darker version for the frills. And maybe a dark brown for the spots. What else do we need? We need a color for the loincloth. We need something for the necklaces. We need a bluish gray, a light bluish gray for the cast. We need a different brown here for the crutches. Orange foam for the pads. Yep, it's amusing me. Give him a shadow here, so to emphasize the fact that he's holding that one leg up above the ground. And then do our junior lizard man in the same colors. What's next? What's next? Oh, we got the spots. There we go. I think I'm gonna need a little yellow to highlight the eyes. No, maybe we'll go with blue instead. There we go. And I'm doing that. Why would I put shades on an eyeball? It's just because there's these so big, they tend to look flat, and by doing that, gives it a shadow. It gives the impression that they are three-dimensional and rounded. Do I have to learn how to letter properly, or is that just how you print? Um, it's a variation on how I print. Yeah, I do. This is, I mean, this I wouldn't call this lettering properly. Yes, when I do cartoons, there's a lettering that I have learned. I'm self-taught, and I self-taught myself that. I've read a lot of books and studied a lot of lettering. I'm not especially good at it. I do not have good handwriting on my own. As you can tell looking at that LK at the end of folk. What in the world's going on there? But when I'm lettering intentionally, yeah, you have to learn to do that. Gloaming brush is fun to say. It is fun to say. It's fun to draw with too. Turns out lizard folks can't ski. You know, I like this joke because it's just such a non sequitur. That's about all. That's the only reason it's a joke, is it's a non sequitur. It feels like there's a story there. Like you should. Ah, I get it. There's really nothing to get. It's a hint of a story that isn't really there. Back when I was working at West End Games, um, I got there just as they were putting the last few weeks of work on a product called it was called Paranoia, the Fifth Edition, though it was only actually the third edition. Um, and in Paranoia, as a line, as a product line, the um, the standard was that it was humorous, and a lot of the images were gag images, but all the images got captions underneath them to explain what was going on or to give a punchline, depending on what it was. And this was a big book with a lot of captions, and so the editor or the designer uh, invited everyone to kind of gather in one of the meeting rooms and suggest uh, captions for the drawings. The Paranoia, the Fifth Edition, also the very first book I got to do, RPG published book that I got to do art for, because it was a humor book. I did about a fifth of about 20% of the art in that book. 25% of the art was mine. And it, holds up, I think, if you can find a copy. The funny thing was the other guy that did most of the rest of it didn't really know Paranoia at all. They were both in-house cartoonists, but he didn't really know Paranoia, and he his take on it was really kind of dark. It was humorous but dark. But every once in a while, he'd have something really goofy too. And we'd gone through this thing, drawing all. Hello, Kerry. Greetings from Maryland. Greetings from Seattle. Greetings from Washington State. Um, so we'd gone through it, and we got to this. We were down to the last few that the designer couldn't come up with captions for, and was kind of stymied. And there's this picture of a little clone. Paranoia. Everyone plays a clone. A clone in a chef's hat. A clone with a little pencil thin mustache and a chef's hat, walking past a big industrial vat uh, of food and carrying an impossibly huge uh, stack of dirty plates and pots and dirty dishes, and everything was covered. And he's just kind of walking, and he's got that thing, and it's looking like it's going to fall. It's that was the joke in the image, was it? He's carrying a ridiculously huge pile of plates and pots, and he's about to drop them. Ha ha. It was cute. It was funny. But trying to come up with a caption for it just eluded everyone, and we were throwing ideas out, and no one could come up. We're trying to talk about the reason it was there was they were talking about the food that everyone ate, this slop that no one knew what it was. It was just, red food number 8 or vat. What's for dinner tonight? Vat 15 is for dinner tonight. And so there really wasn't anything in the picture that needed explaining, and there wasn't. It was a purely visual joke. It didn't need a caption. And the best suggestion that most people came up with, or the most popular suggestion, was, let's just not give it a caption. Like, it works, it does its job. But the decision was made, no, we have to have a caption. Every drawing in a Paranoia product has a caption. This has to have a caption. And so we sat there. It had to have been half an hour, maybe longer, just kind of banging our heads against it and not getting anything. And then one of the people there, Miranda Horner, who was an editor, went on to be an editor at TSR, is now a writer at Cinemax. Miranda just looks at it and says, "Oh my God, I'm dropping some pots," and we all burst out laughing. Right, complete. It's so unnecessary that it was hilarious, and we laughed and laughed and laughed, and the guy in charge said, "All right, okay, now let's keep working at it." And we're laughing and back at it. Nothing's working. About 10 minutes later, someone else says, "Oh my God, I'm dropping some pots," and we all burst out laughing again. And that's when the call started to go out. It's like, well, let's just put, "Oh my God, I'm dropping some pots." And the guy in charge didn't like it. And let's say the only thing that was a joke about it was a completely unnecessary. It wasn't even a non sequitur. It was a completely unnecessary line that described what was obviously going on there, which is a kind of humor, right? If you play it right, that you'll find that Monty Python would have bits where that would happen, but he was not having it. He was not having it, and in the end, we couldn't think of anything. We walked away and said, "All right, well, we don't have anything, and if you don't come up with anything better, we all like, oh my God, I'm dropping some pots." And that's what went in there in the end, because no one could come up with anything. The drawing just didn't need anything. If he didn't want it, my best suggestion still remained, don't put a caption on. But if it's got to have a caption, oh my God, I'm dropping some pots. So it turns out lizard folks can't ski. The end. I'm not sure how good a story that is. Well, I do. I've told it a lot of places. I know it can it can hit. It also can be just kind of a dumb story. I may have just wasted 5 minutes of your time. Well, let's not waste any more then, shall we? Come back here and we're going to reset everything. Turn off round 2, turn on round 3. Make sure we are in the inking and the blue brush. And turn on the encounter tables. Have a sip. And then we'll do one more. Well, we had some interesting lizard folks. Lizardfolk on Crutches was our second drawing. Our first drawing, of course, was Adventurers Black Friday Shopping. Let's go back to the dice and see one more time what they tell us to do for the third drawing. I'm going to roll it, roll it, roll it, roll it, roll it, roll it. And it's a 5 and a 2. So it's an Orc Hunting season. Orc Hunting season. Okay. It's a little too on the nose. There's nothing particularly humorous about the idea of orcs. Of course, orcs have hunting season. What would so here's yeah exactly. Kerry's gone wrong. The wabbit season, duck season came into my head. So that's the question: is what would orcs have on? Should it just be wabbit and duck? I don't know. All right, so we're going to start here. Despite what I said about interesting postures, sometimes what the best thing to do if you want someone to seem like a big dumb thug is to just let them stand there like a big dumb thug. Certainly, our orc could be wearing a big deer stalker, an Elmer Fudd style uh, hunting hat. Um, I'm hunting hobbits. Michael, I like that. Be very, very quiet. I'm hunting hobbits. You know what? I'm clearing this page. I like that sketch, but we can. Oh no, no, no! I didn't want to fill the layer. I wanted to clear the layer. So now, I suppose we're going to need at least one orc facing this way. I'm going to give him a big axe. I think I'm going to give him the big Elmer Fudd hat anyway. And then back here, we're going to have the hobbits hiding. Give them a tree. He's going to say, be very quiet. I'm hunting hobbits. There we go. Yeah, no, Sunsteel is the other. Another way to approach this would be to go back to that other. It could be Hobbit season, Kobold season, Hobbit season, Kobold season. That would have been equally as good. I think we have two excellent choices. All right, so we're going to start here. Weirdly, I'm starting with the nose. It's not a. It's not a detail I usually will start with. And we're going to definitely give him a hunting jacket. Be very quiet. I like this. I like. You know what? I know that I've come up with a funny gag when I giggle to myself, and you have me giggling to myself here with this one. I didn't come up with it. You guys did. Michael did, in fact. But it's definitely a giggle to myself gag. I like the fact that he's wearing a jacket, but it's still barefooted. Barefoot. And then this guy, he needs a Bass Lake Pro Shop. Yeah. Hmm. Be very quiet. I'm hunting hobbits. Oh, this is also silly stuff. I like silly stuff though. In the downtime, you'd love to see the Kobold Orc season. Yeah, you know what? Maybe, maybe I'll do that one another night. I will sometimes do. Well, I guess not sometimes. Once in the 2+ year of this show, I've gone on to do a fourth drawing, and it was when something like this. It was something that tickled me that much, and I'm tempted. I'm really tempted, but I have a lot of work I need to get done still tonight, so I can't take extra time here on the live stream. what would be great is if there was an easy way to turn Elmer Fudd's laugh uh, into lettering, into a word balloon. But I can't think of a way to go and make it clear that's what I'm doing. Tell you one thing I did do wrong already. I put that fluff on it because I'm like, oh, the inside of the flaps are warm, right? But that's not the side that has the flaps. There we go. Let's turn the sketch off and see what that looks like, shall we? Where do we need a little extra? We need a little there, I think. Finished that up. All right. Yeah. Okay. So now we're going to jump over to the color section. Go back to the gloaming brush, which is fun to say. I looked up and I saw Carrie had written "ha ha ha ha," which yes, that's the kind of way you would do it. But uh, the thing is, I think if you know that the reference, you don't need the ha 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 ha. And if you don't know the reference, the ha 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 is not gonna tell you. It requires knowing the source to understand it, and that's why it's so difficult. Again, on if this was the kind of thing, if I was working this up for sale somewhere, I would take the time. I'd say, okay, well, let's play around with it. Let's workshop it. Let's figure out how to do that. But I'm not, and we're not. You can at home, but not tonight. Just like I'm not gonna do the other version of it, the Wabbit season, Cobalt season, the Hobbit season, Cobalt season version. Just gonna let it be. And let's see, maybe a blue to do the studs on there. These guys crack me up. I kind of, you know what? I like the way this first orc has turned out. There's something about his demeanor which is particularly amusing to me. All right, and then we're gonna come on over here, and we're gonna. No. And there we go. Well, I think for the first time tonight, I am going to put a little bit of shading on these guys. Just a smidge. In fact, that may be it. I'm just on the jacket to make it seem like less of just a big flat open area. Make it seem a little less flat. Maybe his big belly too. I say that now. Now, in for a penny, in for a pound. Once you start adding this kind of stuff, uh, it definitely is in the don't make your viewer ask questions. Once you put a little bit in, you've got to put enough in so it all just seems right. There we go. That's it. That's it. I'm sure that's it. This is The hobbits need those camouflage bushy hats like Bill Murray had. No, but I'm thinking that if they were just a little more detailed, I'd want to stick like twigs and branches in their hair, like they're trying to camouflage themselves. All right, so I'm going to come back here to the lines layer. I'm going to go back to my inking brush, and I'm going to put a little stand in the corner because I think that we have ourselves an orc in hunting season. And that, my friends, is that. Hello, Linnea. Oh, you brought a pen for 15 minutes of doodling? Ooh, you have to send me a picture of whatever it is you doodle. Hey, Linnea, get Linnea to draw your Michael. You do your own doodling. You grab yourself a little. You grab yourself some pen and paper and make yourself that Cobalt season or Hobbit season, Cobalt season. Don't make Linnea do your homework for you. All right. Yeah. Just thinking whether I want to just go to an outro. As in the outro, I'm going to talk about my calendar one more time because I tell you, this is the last time I will bring up the calendar in a live stream because time is running out. All right, here we go. Ready? Oh, we get all this set. One more sip. We'll take a fresh start, and then we will do an outro, and then go about our business. Couple orcs in hunting season. As Michael has shown us in the chat, there was another cartoon we could have done, which would have been just as funny, maybe funnier. Who knows? But yes, that was our third pairing of the evening was orc and hunting season. Our second was Lizardfolk on Crutches. And we started off the evening with Adventurers and the Black Friday sale. Those were our drawings for tonight's episode. What fun we had. In fact, yes, had a great time. Thank you, everyone who showed up and hung out and chatted and drew along and threw out ideas and put up with me being me. Before we go, I want to once more talk about the 2026 50 Years in the Dungeon wall calendar, which is going to be limited edition in that I'm only going to print enough to fulfill the pre-orders I get, and time to do that is running out. You have until this Sunday, December 14th, to pre-order if you want a copy of this calendar. It's going to feature art from my Wednesday show from the 50 Years in the Dungeon. All the pieces are again from the first 50 years of D&D. My cartoon homages to some classic pieces of D&D art. The calendar is going to be, well, when folded up, it will be 8 inches by 8 inches, which is 2 inches bigger than last year. So when you open it up, it will be 8 by 16. And they will cost $25 plus $10 for domestic shipping. Shipping outside the U.S. is stupid crazy. If you are outside the U.S. and you want one, I can tell you the shipping's probably going to be $30 on top of the $25 for the calendar. Sorry, not my doing. That's just the cost of shipping and getting the insurance and and the delivery. So there you go. The calendar. If you want to get one, send me a direct message. You can put a message to this video if you want, though better to go to one of my social media or my email if you have it, or if you're part of it all, the Patreon. My Patreon would be a good place to drop me a line, and I'm also leaving some promo images of what the months in the calendar are going to look like at the Patreon. Patreon.com/Stanex. Come join the community. It's a lot of fun. But you leave me a message and I will send you the details on how to get me the money and pre-order it. Like I say, you have until Sunday. Sunday. And after that, I'm going to put the print order in, and that will be it. I don't want to have a whole bunch extra. Last year I did a Kickstarter. It took a lot of time. I printed a bunch. I still have about 40 extra of the 2025 calendar, which is pretty close to useless as a calendar. Now it's only a collection of 12 6x6 prints. So drop me a line if you want. Calendars I will go to press on Monday, and then as long as it takes the printer to print them and get them to me, I will then send them out to you, and you can enjoy them for all of 2026. I will have one on my wall right there, on my studio wall, so I can look at my own drawings all year round, and it'll make me happy. So there you go. And as I said before, I'm not going to bring this up anymore because we're done after this. Once it goes to press, I'm not going to talk about it anymore. I may show it, but you won't have the opportunity. This is your final opportunity. In the meanwhile, thank you again to Michael and Linnea, and to Kerry and Dale. Oh, Dale! I didn't see Dale Donovan's name in here, and Sunsteel, and everyone else who was watching. I know we've had about 10 people in watching, and that's all right. You don't have to chat. You don't have to join the chat. In fact, I mention it because I want to recognize you and thank you for joining us live. I will be back next Wednesday with a new episode of 50 Years in the Dungeon. I will be back next Thursday with a new episode of Random Encounters. And that may be it for the year, because it will be Christmas Eve the following week, and Christmas Day. So I'm not going to be doing that, which means that the week afterwards is going to be New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. So maybe just 2 more shows. I don't know. I may record something. We'll see. No promises there. There may be just 2 more shows in 2025. So come on back. You don't want to miss the epic conclusion. All right. Thank you all for coming. I will